Your career cannot outgrow your mindset. I want you to remember this. Today's episode is for anyone navigating career transition and feeling the weight of uncertainty. There's so many things that come our way on a daily basis. I mean, even if you're not in career transition, just life in general, life tends to just throw stuff at you. But how are you responding to it? Well, welcome to the Who You Know Show, where what you know is important, but who you know can make all the difference in your wealth, health, your business, career, your relationships, and definitely in your life. I'm super excited you're here today because today's episode is for anyone navigating career transition, okay, and feeling the weight of uncertainty, okay? If you're uncertain, you're kind of like got a little anxiety, right? Maybe stressed out a little bit, all right? We're going to talk about the single most important factor in your comeback today, and that is your mindset. See, I recently asked my audience, I did a poll on LinkedIn, and I asked them what excites them most in this podcast. Like, what is it that they need to hear more of? And the results were pretty staggering, actually. So we had four categories I put career strategies, right? The things that are going to be more tactical that you can apply and take action on, career strategies. Financial resilience, right? Because when you're in a career transition, you're in a financial transition. I put health and fitness, right? Keeping your body strong. And then I put motivation and comeback. And it was pretty loud and clear the impact that you guys want to see more of, right? The type of episodes you want to see more of. 64% motivation and comeback, okay? 29% was career strategies, 4% for financial resilience, and 2% for health and fitness, all right? So 64%. And that just tells me that you're craving encouragement, you're craving fuel, you need tools to strengthen your mindset in this season when things are just seeming like it's crashing down all around you, okay? So in this episode, here's what we're going to do. You're going to learn how to guard your mindset, all right? I'm going to show you how to guard it during uncertain seasons when things just seem to be falling apart. I'm going to show you how to reframe that rejection into redirection, okay? Reframe your rejection into redirection. And then lastly, I'm going to show you how to navigate some trending career debates into a winning attitude, okay? We're going to talk about some things that are happening right now, some debates that are going on, and how to reframe it into a winning attitude, all right? So your career cannot outgrow your mindset. I want you to remember this. Your career cannot outgrow your mindset. If your thinking starts to shrink, your opportunities do too. All right? Your opportunities do too. So remember that. So let me tell you, why your mindset matters the most. Why is this the most important thing? I said that earlier when I came into this episode. Why is the mindset the number one thing? All right? Because it's not just about resumes. It's not just about applications. It's not about, networking and all that stuff. It's about resilience. You're going through a hard time right now, and you got to be strong. Your mindset is going to help you to recover faster from the setback. It's going to help you to show up with confidence in your interviews. It's going to help you to stay consistent when, progress starts feeling slow. It's going to help you, if you get rejected, after an interview, it's going to help you, kind of bounce back. See, one thing that is so true is you can't control the economy. You can't control recruiters. You can't control, hiring freezes or anything like that. But what you can control is your perspective, right? There's so many things that are going on that are outside of your control. And it can you can so easily get victimized by all of that, right? Go into that victim mentality, the world's against me, the ATS and ageism and all of these things. That is also your mindset. You're going into victim mindset rather than victor mindset, all right? So if you think about those two mindsets, who's going to be the one that overcomes, the victim or the victor, right? The one that can, the one that says, you know what, I can do this, or the one that says, there's no way it's possible. Everything's against me. The deck is stacked against me, right? So mindset is seriously the number one thing. I know this because I teach in my Career Transition Summit strategies all the time. And a lot of times people will come through the summit, they'll get inspired, encouraged, they'll get a strategy that they feel like is going to help them. And there's a percentage of the group that gets so inspired by that they take action, and it ends up those people get the results. I mean, shock, right? Those people are the ones that get the results. And then you have other people that come through who are more victim mindseted, and they come through and they start telling themselves why it won't work. All right? Like, they're getting in their own head. They're saying, yeah, I don't know, this, that, the other. Like, they're skeptical, right? Instead of being, like, overly optimistic and positive and having that go-getter attitude. Like, what's that saying? Your attitude determines your altitude. And so there's so many things that come our way on a daily basis. I mean, even if you're not in career transition, just life in general, life, tends to just throw stuff at you. But how are you responding to it? That's a choice that you do have. And even if you are a victim, I will say this, even if you are a victim, like, how you respond to it makes all the difference in the world, right? Being a victim is outside circumstances impacting you, right? Like, let's say someone, I'm just going to go extreme real quick and give you an extreme, example. Let's say somebody just broke into your car, stole a bunch of stuff, okay? Yeah, you were victimized, right? But how you retaliate or how you respond, because you might go out and retaliate. You might, your response could be like, I'm going to go kill this guy, right? That would be up to you. That would be your response. That's in your control. Or you could go handle it appropriately. Like, you could go, call the police, have them come out, have them investigate, have them do their job, right? Get your insurance involved, all that kind of stuff. Like, you could handle it in two different ways. And so anyways, where I'm going with this is your response means everything. Okay, how you handle situations, how you handle adversity, how you handle challenges, how you handle setbacks. And that's all about mindset. And so I'm going to give you a example here. My own personal story. Like, I went through a career transition back in 2009 during the Great Recession. Okay, I remember what it was like. It was one of my darkest seasons. It was stressful. I was laid off for something that wasn't my fault, so I was a victim. Okay, my bills were piling up. I felt like I was running out of money. I remember staring at the ceiling at night, just wondering how I was going to provide for myself, stressed out, right? The fear was real. And, it was a struggle. But here's the thing. I made a choice. I could let that fear define me, right? I could let that fear, take over. Or I could sharpen my mindset and I could push forward. Like, that's my choice. And so every day I started with gratitude, even if it was just simply being grateful and thankful for the breath in my lungs. I started to surround myself with people who lifted me up. I wanted to get rid of anyone that pulled me down. I needed people that were going to speak life into me and put energy into me that was positive. And I started to repeat to myself all the time, today's going to be a great day. 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 I want you to speak that out loud. Today's going to be a great day. And this season does not define me. It refines me. Okay? It doesn't define me. It refines me. Right? Then that mindset became, really a foundation for, everything I've built since. From my financial practice to this podcast to the programs where I help others through career transition, right? It really is the foundation is setting your mindset because, look, if you're in the dumps, if you're feeling depressed, anxious, scared, right? The door of opportunity could be right in front of you, but you will miss it. You will literally miss it because you're not looking for it. You're not in a positive mindset. So when I say mindset matters the most, it's not a theory. It's lived experience. This is literally the most important thing that you need to guard right now in your transition. Okay? So let's talk about some things that you can do, some practical stuff that you can actually do to apply to strengthen your mindset, all right? So the first thing that you could do is gratitude, right? I started a new series called Gratitude and Gains, and hopefully you guys are tuning in. It's a live show every single morning. The first thing I do is I get my Bible out. That's the very first thing. Get my Bible out, and I read the Word. And then from there, I get my prayer journal out. And in my prayer journal, I write down things that I'm grateful for every single morning. You start with gratitude. Gratitude first. Because let me tell you something. When you're grateful, you can't be negative. It's impossible. Those two things do not go together. All right? It's literally impossible. So if you are, grateful and happy and you have joy, right, you can't be negative. Things can be crashing down around you. I'm going to give you an example. I remember when I crashed my Harley Davidson when I was 20 years old. I wrecked my motorcycle. I was totally jacked up in the hospital, banged up, right? But I'm going to tell you, I had the most gratitude in my life. I was so thankful to be alive. So thankful. Literally everything looked different. It felt different. The world had a different, I had a different lens. It was incredible. And I remember praying to God every single day, don't take that gratitude from me. Let me keep this feeling. Let me keep this feeling. Right? But see, here's the thing about gratitude. I made the mistake. I stopped practicing that. And I'm telling you, when I was at that level of my life, I was on cloud nine. I had the most gratitude, the most thankfulness I've ever had in my life. And I was so happy. I had so much joy. There was nothing that could bother me. Literally you could, flip me off, tell me whatever. It doesn't matter. Any negativity that was coming my way just bounced right off. It just bounced off. It was like armor. Think of gratitude as like armor against negativity and against the enemy and against anything that he's going to throw at you. It's the armor. I know the Bible talks about the armor of God. Maybe that's part of it. Gratitude. And I remember praying, Help me keep this gratitude. But you know what? I slipped because it's a muscle. If you're not using it, guys, if you're not using it, it'll get weak. And then all of a sudden your mind starts focusing on negative things. Your mind starts focusing on how challenging it is and how hard it is and how you're not going to get through and how long it's taking and how much money you're blowing through and, just how your spouse is, you're letting your spouse down and just all the things, all the negativity of this world. And then you start seeing the news, and the news has all these tragedies, and, they don't ever talk about good things on the news. So, because that doesn't sell, right? So you're seeing this and, just all of a sudden you're so focused on negativity, and that has a massive impact on you. So what I'm going to tell you is you've got to work gratitude out like a muscle every single day, right? You cannot do this one time and it be successful. Like, you can't pull a pen and pad out and then start writing the things you're grateful for down one time and then, this solves your problem. Okay? It doesn't. So what you want to do is literally do this every single morning. First thing, write down 3 things every morning you're grateful for. Every single morning. It'll get easier and easier and easier. And it doesn't have to be huge things. It could be small things, right? Find joy in the small things. So that's one of the things I would encourage you to do. As a matter of fact, as I go through this, there's actually a guy who made a massive impact on my life. His name is Glenn Lundy. I've had him on this show a couple times. You can check out past episodes if you'd like. He's amazing. He wrote this thing called the Morning 5, and I live by it. The Morning 5 is incredible. So basically what the Morning 5 is first thing in the morning, okay? There's 5 simple steps to change your life. So the first step is you do not want to do the snooze button, okay? Do not snooze. Now, it doesn't really matter what time you wake up. Some people are early birds like me. They get up early. I get up at 4:30. Some people get up at 7, 8, whatever the case may be. I'm not here to tell you your schedule. But what I am trying to tell you is that whatever you set for yourself, if you tell yourself, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m., and that alarm clock goes off at 5 a.m., I want you to think about it. That was the very first goal of the day, the very first milestone, the very first commitment to yourself that you made, and you gave up on yourself if you hit that snooze button. Okay? Do not hit the snooze button. Mentally, it's like giving up on yourself the very first thing you do. You're like, you hit the snooze button, and then you hit it again, and you hit it again. Like, don't do that, okay? So, no snooze button. Then you want to do gratitude and goals, right? Remember I talked about that. Write down gratitude and goals. What are the things you're trying to accomplish? No phone, no electronics, okay? No screen time first thing in the morning. These things are distractions, and a lot of times there's so much negativity in that. Again, you're going to get your phone out, you're going to get your emails, you're going to get, like, imagine that. Okay, so you're searching for a job, and the first thing you do is you pull out your phone, you look at your emails, like you're barely opening your eyes, and you open your emails and you see a rejection email. Come on, guys. You're not ready for it yet. Your mind isn't ready to take on the negativity of this world yet. You're not prepared for it. You're not strong enough for it. You're at a very weak point because you're just waking up. So please, no screen time first thing in the morning. It does make a big difference. It's something that is very challenging, actually. I struggled with this myself. I was going first thing to my phone. And look, I'm single, so I was going first thing to my phone, going to a dating app. looking at the messages from whoever and whatever, and sometimes they were good, sometimes they were bad. But again, that whatever that comes in, like the first things, that's going to set the tone for the rest of your day. So again, don't go to screen time. No news, no phone, no electronics. All right? We got to get our mindset right first. So again, no snooze button, no phone, no electronics, gratitude and goals. Okay? And if you're a believer, I would say get that Bible out, read that Bible. I mean, spiritual, you got to fill your spirit. Okay, whatever your beliefs are, fill your spirit. All right? And then after that, then you want to move your body. You want physical activity. You've got to get the blood pumping. You've got to, and I'm not saying you need to go out and like train and like, lift weights and all that, which I'm not saying you shouldn't either. That's up to you. But you got to get the blood pumping. If you need to go for a walk, a jog, I would tell you to start small and start building up to where you can start working out. I mean, physical activity and working out is so good for you. When you sweat out the negativity, you sweat out those negative thoughts, and you put in the hard work. Okay, this is a daily activity. You have to do this daily, guys. You can't do this just once. Okay? So energy fuels resilience. You need energy. Okay? When you think about, I want you to just picture for a second. Think about someone who's depressed. What do you see? Someone's depressed. You see high energy or low energy? Right? You see low energy for somebody who's depressed, right? They're typically like hunched over, their shoulders are down, they kind of got their head down, they're very low energy. Now, think about someone who is confident and resilient and ready to take on the world, a world changer, someone that company wants to hire, right? Does that company want to hire somebody who's depressed, sad, in the dumps, and their energy's low? Heck no. They want somebody high energy, motivated, ready to take on the world, who's got their stuff together, all right? So let's get it together. And energy fuels resilience. It really does. So let's do the hard things first. You've got to take care of yourself first before you can do anything else. You have to take care of yourself. So again, first thing in the morning, no snooze button. Okay, no phone time. Gratitude and goals. You got to move the body. You got to get some physical activity in. And another thing that you can do that is super impactful is to send an encouraging message to someone else. Reach out to somebody you love, someone who's made an impact in your life, someone who is important to you, and send an encouraging message to them. You're giving. I want you to reach out to them and tell them how much you appreciate them. Give them their roses. Okay? Give that person their roses. Oftentimes we wait for those people to die before we ever tell them how much we love them, and it's too late. It's too late. Give them their roses now. Do this daily. I want you to do at least one person a day, every day. Tell them how much you love them and why. And just watch what that does for your mindset and to strengthen the relationships around you. It's going to lift other people up. And when you give, you get. It's just the law of reciprocity. You reap what you sow. It's biblical. And when you throw positive energy out there, it fills you up. Okay? So tell someone how much you stinking love them. And just, I'm telling you guys, if you do this daily, it's going to make a massive impact. All right? And then affirmations. Okay? Affirmations is another thing that is super important. When you talk to yourself, there's power of life and death in the tongue. And the things that you speak like you start to believe those things, right? And belief and faith, like if you're telling yourself it's hard, then it is hard, right? You're speaking that out, and it's your belief system, and your belief system is like it's becoming your reality. What you focus on becomes your reality, and so if you're focused on it being hard, then it's going to be hard. So if you're focused on if your words are that you're speaking is that it's easy, if you start saying like, man, this job search is easy, this is nothing, I'm capable, I am resilient, the right doors are going to open for me, today is going to be a great day, right? I remember we had this lady, Sandy Sampson. I remember it was like it was yesterday. I taught her a strategy in my Career Transition Summit, and she spoke out loud. She said, wow, I can't wait to implement this. There's a in the strategy, there was a tool that we were using, and it had a subscription on it, right? And she's out of work, so she doesn't have money, but there was a 2-week free trial, okay? And she grabbed a hold of that. That was her hope. That 2-week free trial was her hope. And I remember she spoke it out loud. She said, Trevor, I can't believe it. 2-week free trial? I got this. I'm going to land my job in 2 weeks. Watch. And she spoke that out loud, and she went at it. Man, she used the tools. She used the strategy. She went hard with it. She believed in it. The words she spoke, she believed. And that became her focus. It ordered her steps, right? And she started taking action. And next thing you know, literally, I remember it was like it was yesterday. We were at a career event. She runs up to me and she's like, oh my gosh, I just got the call. I just got the offer. Oh my gosh. She jumps in my arms, gives me a big hug. And she's like, you won't believe it. I can't believe it. Today was the last day of my free trial. I did it. Right? Because you don't understand how powerful your words are. The power of life and death are in the tongue. So what are you speaking about yourself? Right? Before the written word was the spoken word. And you got to think about it. God said, let there be light. And there was light. Right? The things that you say are so important. So affirmations, I would highly encourage you to get those out. I am capable. I am resilient. The right doors are going to open for me. I got this. You can't stop me. I am going to land. Like, I got this. This is it. Today's going to be a great day. Today's going to be a great day. Today's going to be a great day. Make it happen, y'all. Affirmations. All right? Mindset anchors. This is another important one. Mindset anchors. All right, so what the heck is that? All right, well, I remember the first time I learned about mindset anchors. Oh, man. So funny. I didn't even know about this, really. There was I went to a Tony Robbins conference with a friend of mine, Sarah Delane. Shout out to you. And she was on cloud nine, y'all. She was at a peak, like peak performance. You know, they talk about peak performance. She was in flow. She was just, oh my gosh. She was on cloud nine. Okay. And I see her like pinching her own ear and she's got fingernails and like putting dents in her own ear, like serious dents in her ear. And I was like, what the heck are you doing? And she was like, I'm setting an anchor. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? And she kind of explained about an anchor. And she's like, yeah, next time I do this, it's going to take me back to that moment, that experience, that kind of memory. It's going to anchor in the feeling that I have right now. And I was like, whoa, that sounds kind of crazy. Okay. I was like, what? But that was the first time I ever heard about anchors. And I guys, mindset anchors, I would encourage you to go, like, take a look at that, think about that. But there's other things you can do. Like, think about a photo or a quote or maybe a song that pulls you into focus when doubt creeps in. I remember I had another lady on the show. Her name is Heather Monahan. You guys can take a look at that episode. Look up Heather Monahan on the Who You Know show. And she had a cardboard cutout of herself in her power pose. It was her, like, most sexy outfit. Like, she was looking just amazing, looking powerful, you know. Like, think about do you have a photo of yourself? Maybe it's when you were younger and you were, like, all fit and just, whatever. Like, but that was for her. She had this red dress on, powerful, and it reminded her, it was an anchor for her of power and resilience and strength and confidence, right? Because she was going through a time where she had actually got let go from a job and she wasn't confident and she needed to rebuild her confidence. So she had to look at this picture of her when she was at her utmost confidence, right? So that was an anchor. Is there a song that is like a walk-on song for you? Imagine the song, if you had to pick out a song that you were going to walk onto a stage and talk to 1 million people, what song would you want them to put up there for you as you walked onto the stage? Right? And you need to listen to that song. That song's going to be powerful. You know it's going to be high energy. It's going to be powerful. It's going to put you on top, okay? So you can go up there and crush it. I remember a few years back, I was a new top producer for being a new agent. And I remember I won this award. And I beat everybody in the office. It was pretty cool, right? I was the top producer, right? And I remember I'm at this award ceremony, and everybody's dressed to the nines. It was the Grammys or the Oscars. No, they did an Oscars theme, okay? And everybody's dressed like royalty, okay? So high, flashy night. Very important. They're doing the awards, and I was the number one, and they pulled me up there on stage. Now, I didn't get to pick my walk-on song. I didn't get to pick it. Like, they just did this, and they pulled me up there, and they had like cards to talk about who the nominees were. The nominees this year for top producer, this person, this person, this person. And the winner is Trevor Houston. Boom. The walk-on music comes. And you know what the song they played? It was that all I do is win, 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 no matter what. I don't even know who sings that song, but you know what song I'm talking about. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Whenever I hear that song come on now, it was an anchor. Like, I'm telling you, I didn't even, that song was nothing to me. That song, I mean, I'm sure I liked it, but it was never like, I guess it was never like something I was like, ooh, I love this jam. This is a good song. No. But let me tell you something. Now when I hear that song, it takes me right back there when I was like on top and everybody's cheering and clapping and woo, it was like winning the Super Bowl, you know what I mean? And I go up there, but that song, every time I hear it now, it's an anchor for me. What is it for you? I want you to think about mindset anchors that you can go to. You can play a song, you can look at a photo or maybe a quote, right? That just reminds you of being on top and being confident okay? It can elevate your mindset. Think about that. So those are just a few things, guys. I mean, there's so many other things that you can do. I would encourage you to, maybe even do a search on ChatGPT, right? Ask about, different ways to elevate your mindset, to put yourself on top, to give you confidence. You need confidence, especially you're going into these interviews. You go into these interviews and your mind's in the dump and you're negative and victim mindset and depressed and stressed and all that kind of stuff. It's not going to help. You're not going to get the job. They're going to pass on you. Okay? So I also told you in this episode we're going to go over some career debates. Okay, there's some things going on right now that we're seeing, and so I want to talk about them and then the mindset that goes into them. All right? All right, so let's get into it. So career lily pads versus ladders. All right, what are we talking about there? Well, Gen Z right now is redefining what it looks like to be ambitious. All right, they're ditching the old ladder, okay, and they're hopping on what's called a career lily pad. So what the heck does that mean? Well, the ladder, you guys remember, you would work for a company for, 10, 20, 30 years. I've got a coworker right now that is celebrating her 30 years with New York Life. 30 years, okay? And that's the way it was back in the day. You used to get the gold watch and the pension, remember? Right? Gold watch and a pension. Well, that's the old way. It doesn't work that way anymore. The average tenure on a job now is like 3 to 4 years. People are hopping, okay? And so now Gen Z is catching on to that. They're looking at what they call the career lily pad. They're going to hop from one to the next, okay? But there's a mindset lesson I want you to take away here, because we've often called, Gen Z lazy. I remember it was millennials. I'm a millennial, and I remember hearing all the negative talk about millennials. But let me tell you something. I'm not lazy, okay? The mindset lesson here is that flexibility doesn't mean a lack of ambition. It doesn't mean a lack of drive, right? A strong mindset anchors you through change. And so they're adaptable, and they're figuring out a different way to get to the top, okay? Instead of hopping on one ladder and carrying that, which, by the way, that ladder doesn't exist anymore. They see that. You're going to get let go. It just happens. These companies, average tenure on a job is 3 to 4 years because they go through financial struggles. Most of these companies are stock-owned companies, and they've got to report to the board, and they're making short-term decisions, right? They're making short-term decisions about the company in order to please the shareholders. Like, that's the bottom line, right? Like, one of the reasons why that coworker I mentioned, 30 years at that company, was because it was a mutual company. New York Life is a mutual company, which means it's not publicly traded on the market. You can't it's a mutual company. It's not publicly traded, and so we don't have those short-term decisions. We have long-term decisions about the company. Things actually move slower, which can be a good thing. It means stability, strength, like a foundation. And so that's where you're going to see people like that nowadays. If you want that ladder, if you want the ladder of the old days, the gold watch and the pension type of thing, you need to be looking at mutual companies, privately held companies, not public companies. Public companies, there's too much movement, too much going on, okay? And it's all about the bottom line, and it's all about pleasing the shareholders, okay? So, guys, you need to understand that. Be willing, if you're going to go for a stock-owned company, if you want to work for one, understand that you're going to might have to jump around a little bit. Okay? It's just what it is. 3 to 4 years, the average tenure. Okay? Another one is what they call job hugging, right? Job hugging. And that's basically where some people cling real tight to a job that they have out of fear, right? So, that's a lesson too. A mindset lesson here could be, you need to ask yourself, am I staying because I'm growing? Like, why am I staying here? Or is it because I'm scared to move? And I've personally gone through this myself. I remember when I was in the auto industry, I stayed for 6 years, but I was probably only happy for 4, and then honestly, I got complacent because there was corporate politics, and I, got bitter because I wasn't moving up, and my mindset wasn't right. It was my own mindset, and I got bitter, and I got a little bit angry and frustrated that I wasn't moving forward, even though I was their top producer. So I was upset, and I stayed for probably 2 extra years because I was afraid to leave. I was still making very good money. I was the top producer there. I was afraid to leave. I don't have a college background, and so I literally thought that job would be the most money I would ever make in my life. I remember thinking that. I was like, there's no way I could make any more money than this. This is it. This is it for me. And so that was my mindset, and that kept me there for 2 extra years until I kept hitting that glass ceiling over and over and over, and I kept, the corporate politics, they kept passing me up and all that kind of stuff, and I just, one day it was enough. I was so frustrated. I was complacent. My production was dropping. I wasn't happy. And I remember my GM, there was an opportunity to move up, and I asked my GM about it, and he said, well, that's the good news, is I don't have to make a decision right now. I got 90 days to make a decision. And I remember looking at him, and I said, man, that's unfortunate, because if you don't know after 6 years, you're definitely not going to know after 90 days. Like, if you don't already know that I'm the guy after 6 years of service, being the top producer and being, who I am, you know who I am. If you don't already know that, like, I'm sorry. So I put in my 2 weeks notice, right? And I left. But I stayed for a long time job hugging because the fear of the unknown, right? But it was the best move I ever made, was moving and jumping and taking that leap of faith and getting the heck out of there, right? So much more happy today for sure. Another one that is one of these trending topics is portfolio careers without burnout. So what the heck does that mean? Portfolio careers. So many people are juggling multiple income streams. We're seeing this a lot right now because of remote work. They're working for multiple companies. They're juggling. They got multiple income streams. And that can be exciting, but also that can be overwhelming. Okay? You know what happens when you juggle, right? You got a lot of stuff going on, and nothing's really getting your full attention either, right? And so you drop the ball. And that can be overwhelming. It can be stressful. So what's a mindset lesson here? Discipline and clarity protect you from burnout. Okay? Discipline and clarity are what's going to protect you from burnout. So a resilient mindset is all about knowing your limits and aligning with purpose. Okay? So those are just a few things that we're seeing out there, some career debates, career lily pads versus the ladders, right? Job hugging and burnout, especially when you're dealing with multiple income streams, working a bunch of different jobs at the same time, all right? So again, guys, this episode is all about strengthening your mind and figuring out the best way to move forward and to turn your setback into your comeback, right? Your mindset directly impacts how other people perceive you, right? Employers are going to hire confidence, and they're going to hire positivity just as much as they hire skills. You could have all the skills in the world, but if your mindset is in the dump, like, they're going to pass on you. They just are. It's one of the reasons why employers like to recruit and hire people that are already working at other companies. Okay? Think about that. They're going to try to poach someone from another company before they hire someone who's not working, who's unemployed, because there's a mindset different. One is scarcity mindset. The other one is abundant mindset. The abundant mindset is going to literally, ask a lot more questions. They're going to be selective. If they were going to move from one company to the next company, like, you're going to have to show me why. Why would I leave my company to come to your company? It better be better. The grass better be greener, right? You better show me what, and so you're going to be very selective on that transition, right? You're not just going to jump. And so same thing is true, right, with the mindset. If you are in a negative mindset, if you're unemployed, if you're not working, you're going to be in a scarcity mindset. You're going to be, a little bit more desperate, want to take anything and everything. You're not going to be selective. It's the exact opposite. You're not going to be confident, right? So this is a lot of times why you see employers will hire people who are already currently working versus going for the pool of people who are, like, begging for a job, right? So just something to think about. Your mindset directly impacts how other people perceive you, right? I remember when I first got into financial services, I had what's called commission breath because I was so worried I needed people to work with me in order to put food on my table, and I was just so worried about closing the deal that I was pushing people away. They could see it all over me. It's like desperation, and it was like putting my needs over their needs. That's the other thing about scarcity mindset. It puts it's self-serving. You're putting your needs over them. The company, honestly, doesn't care about you. Let's just be real. They don't care about you. They care about them. Right? They care about them and their needs and their wants. That's why they're hiring somebody to fix a problem. Right? They don't really care about you. So when you go in there with a scarcity mindset and it's all about you and you need the job, you're not putting them first. Right? So same thing when I first got into financial services and I was so in a scarcity mindset, I was putting my needs first. I needed the sale. I needed the deal so I could put food on my table, so I could survive. Like, it was about me. It wasn't about them. And people can smell it. They can see it. They can spot it from a mile away. It's all over your body language. Okay? So we got to get out of that victim mindset. We got to get out of that scarcity mindset. And we got to get into a mindset of confidence and clarity and purpose. All right? So a couple things I want you guys to do. One of those, I want you to create a mindset board. It's like a vision board, right? You've heard of those. Create that mindset board. It's got visuals, quotes, reminders that represent you in that comeback story, right? Put it somewhere where you're going to see that daily. I want you to have that in a place where you're going to see it. You're going to, look at that on a daily basis to lift yourself back up, kind of like the mindset anchors we were talking about. All right? So that's one thing I want you to do. And a call to action I have for you as well, another thing is to write down 3 daily mindsets. All right? I talked about a lot on this show, on this episode. I want you to take 3. I want you to write down 3 daily habits and practice them for the next 7 days. Okay? 3 habits. Practice them for the next 7 days because consistency compounds. So, discipline compounded daily equals transformation. If you guys want to transform your life, if you want to come back, you've got to start with discipline to do those things and consistency. And that's going to compound and transform your life. Okay? And see, your mindset is the foundation of your comeback. All right? The mindset is the foundation of your comeback. So you need to make it strong. So, one question I have for you before we wrap up this episode. What is one mindset shift you can make today? Just one that will help you to see your transition not as a setback, but as your comeback. What is one thing you can do today that is going to help you to transition your mindset so that you can look at this transition not as a setback, but as a comeback? All right, guys, this is the show. It's all about who you know. Bye.